Hello everyone. Today I am here in English tutorial classes with a new topic, verb. So guys, what is a verb? A verb can be considered as one of the most important parts of a sentence. You probably already know that a sentence must be composed of a subject and predicate. So what makes a verb so important? Well, the verb is the main component of a predicate. Without verb, there won't be a sentence. Just a bunch of words with an incomplete thought. So, simply defined, the verb is a part of speech which is used to demonstrate an action or a state of being. Here is the definition of verb. A verb is a word or a combination of words that indicates action or a state of being or condition. A verb is the part of a sentence that tells us what the subject actually performs. And very importantly, verbs are the hearts of English sentences. As we all know, verbs are a very important part of our sentences in English. Now, directly we will come to the types of verbs. There are actually three main types of verbs. Number one is action verbs. Number two is linking verbs. And number three is helping verbs. Now, these things are also categorized. That one we will come in the latter portion of my videos. Now, this action words, they tells us about the action which something or someone is performing. And we also know that these action verbs are the main verbs that shows the action or the activity of a subject. Next is linking verbs. Linking verbs connects a noun or a pronoun with a word that identifies or describes it. And most importantly is helping verbs. What are helping verbs? Helping verbs actually gives us more meaning to the main verb. They cannot stand alone, which means that they require main verb for their existence. As we can see here, added before another verb to make it a verb phrase. That means they cannot work independently. Now here I have stated the types and the categories also. To start with, we have auxiliary verb. It is very important. So auxiliary verb is further subdivided into two parts, that is primary auxiliary and modal auxiliary. Primary auxiliaries, these are the main auxiliary, and modal auxiliaries, these are the modal auxiliaries. Now, what is the difference between the two? This main auxiliary, the things which come, the words or the verbs which come under this category are is, which we always use, are, has, have, and etc. Now, the modal auxiliaries, what are those? Which are used but not as if the primary auxiliary, like can, could, may, will, shall, etc. So these are the modal auxiliaries. Next one is ordinary. There is no subdivision for this one. Next we will directly jump to finite. This finite and infinite, this also plays a very important role. To start with, we have to know what is finite verb. Finite verb is a verb that has a subject and shows the tense. Every sentence needs a finite verb mainly. The main verb in every sentence will be a finite verb. This is very important thing to know, that the main verb in every sentence there is a main verb, and that main verb will be the finite verb. It has to be the finite verb. This finite verb is further subdivided into two parts, that is transitive and intransitive. And apart from this, we are having non-finite. What are non-finite verbs? A non-finite verb is a verb form that doesn't show tense. In other words, we can say that you cannot tell if a sentence is in past tense, present tense or future tense by looking at a non-finite verb. So it is further subdivided. It is having three more parts, that is infinitive, gerund and participle. These three portions, they are actually a chapter in itself. So these things we will come in my later videos. This will be discussed later on. So now as we have learned about this framework we have learned, now we will go into the details. Number 1, auxiliary verbs. Now, as I already told you, this auxiliary verb is further divided into two parts, primary, modals. Now, what are primary auxiliary? These examples I already gave you. Now, to start with the primary auxiliaries, this primary auxiliary, they are actually the helping verbs. Like, for example, she has a pen. They are studying. Here, the main verb is studying and are is simply the helping verb. Next, modals, or the, as it was already told, modals or the modal auxiliaries. These are actually the advanced form of primary auxiliary. Example as already given, can, could, may, might, etc. For example, you may leave the office. We should respect our national property. So here the main verbs are, in example 1 it is leave, in example 2 it is respect, and these are nothing but the advanced form of the helping verbs, that is the primary auxiliary. Next, regular, ordinary or helping verbs. Now what are these? What are the categories which fall under this topic? Verbs that denote any activity or work, that is a regularity which we are actually seeing, that any activity or work is being performed. They are also called ordinary or regular verbs. Examples are given over here: work, play, eat, laugh, study, etc. Whatever the works we are performing or the things we are doing, the actions which are done, all these things come under this category. For example, they go to the school regularly. Simply go is the verb here. They are going to the school now. Here also going is the verb. Next topic is finite verb. Very important portion. This finite verb is further subdivided into transitive and intransitive. To transit means to move or transfer. From the word transitive, we can have an idea that it means to, transitive comes from the word transit, where transit means to move or transfer. It is the action or the verb which passes over an object. That means it should have an object. Simply it has a direct object. Even it should have an object and that object should be definitely in the direct form. For example, she writes a letter. Mr. Sen teaches me. So it is definitely having an object. In the first sentence, letter is the object. In the second sentence, me is the object. But in case of intransitive, it is something that doesn't transfer its effect on an object. That means it simply doesn't have any direct object. They does not have any direct object. That is the very clear distinction between the two. That is, if I point it out very clearly, point number 3 from transitive, point number 2 from intransitive. This makes them a total difference. Example, Raju came on time. Here we cannot see the use of any object. Sentence number 2, she laughed a lot. Here also there is a question mark about the object. So this was all about transitive and intransitive. Now we will move to the fourth category, that is non-finite. Non-finite verbs do not work as the actual verbs in the formation of the sentence. They do not show any tense. That is the most important thing, that they do not show us any tense. That means apparently by the sentence we cannot understand that it is in which form. As I have already shown you that there are 3 subdivisions of non-finite verb, that is infinitive, gerund and participle. And this discussion we will have in the later session. So this was all about today. Let's end the class over here. Thank you so much for watching the video.